Hello my fellow book addicts, Megan here, and time for another book to movie adaptation discussion video. As the title suggests, today I'm talking about the Eragon movie. And as you might guess, I just can't contain my excitement for this. Oh boy, if you ask me about this movie, I have a lot to say. Like, I have vivid memories of seeing this movie in theaters. I was going through chemotherapy at the time, way back in, God, what was it, 2006 still, or was it 2007 at that point? I can't remember. My treatment went from 2006 to 2007. This movie came out at some point during that time. Through the treatment center I went to, we could get free movie tickets from time to time. My mom and I went to go see this, I believe the Monday after it came out. We had an empty theater, and I remember walking out of that theater so unsatisfied. I am so glad we did not pay to see this movie in theaters. So, yeah, let me go into a mini rant about this movie. So, for this movie, I haven't seen it in years. It's probably been like a decade since I saw it. So let's see how my thoughts and opinions have changed since then. And I reread the book recently, so my mind is refreshed. Let's get into this. And yes, there will probably be a lot of saltiness ahead, and yes, I am fully aware that it is hard to adapt a book to movie, especially something as long as Eragon, and as, like, dense is probably the best word I can think of. There's a lot going on in that book. There's a lot of description. There's a lot of history. There's just a lot to try and cram into a movie. And I acknowledge that is not easy. And I acknowledge that a lot of things would need to be changed to make that adaptation work. And when I went into this movie to rewatch it, I kept that in mind. It's something I can do much easier now as an adult than when I was 15 years old. But yeah, I'm still gonna be salty about it, because at that time, this was one of my favorite books. So, the saltiness was very real. So, yeah, going in. So, the little prologue we had at the beginning, kind of explaining the writers, it worked. No complaints about that, and it was pretty to watch. The landscapes in this movie are gorgeous, and I love it. One thing in this movie that kind of got to me is I'm blanking now on details because my memory sucks. But there was a little bit more behind Galbatorix than him just betraying the writers. There is a reason for his betrayal, doesn't make it right, but he does have a motive for what he did, even if it was a horrible thing to do still. So he had a little bit more going on than just betraying the writers for the sake of betraying the writers. I kind of wish they went into that a little bit more, just to give that character a little extra depth instead of he villain, bad. So the intro describing the writers was one thing, but the voiceover we had during Arya's time in the woods and her being attacked by Durza, that I felt was unneeded. I felt that was spoon feeding us a little too much. As a viewer, it made me feel stupid. Like, I'm sure even if I hadn't read the book, I would understand enough to not be overly confused. I think as a non-reader, I could have understood elf chick good, creepy dude bad, creepy dude want what good girl has. I don't feel I needed the voiceover explaining what's going on. And also, Arya's hair. That will forever annoy me. I feel like in the books, almost every time Arya is described, her hair is being described. Her dark raven hair. Like, really, movie? You guys couldn't have sprung for hair dye or a wig. Like, I've gotten much better at, accepting physical changes for characters, especially when it comes to things like eye color. But if a character is described with a certain skin or hair tone multiple times throughout the source material, I think you should kind of not change that. Especially when hair dye or a wig. are such easy choices to come by. Like, colored contacts, I can totally understand someone not wanting to do them or not being able to physically handle the contacts. But dyeing or using a wig for hair color, no excuse. Casting someone with the right skin tone, no excuse. So yeah, bitter that Arya does not have black hair. Also, it confuses me why they have Galbatorix refer to the egg as a stone. He knows it's not a stone. Durza knows it's not a stone. So when they know this and are referring to it as a stone versus an egg, that was dumb. One thing that was keeping me from getting overly salty while watching this is remembering that Durza is played by the same actor who plays Mr. Gold in Once Upon a Time. I am bad with actor names, so I feel horrible for not knowing his, name. But yeah, no, that entertained me a little more than it probably should have throughout this whole movie. Also, going back to Arya, throughout most of this movie, she felt pretty helpless to me. In the book, she killed several of those Urgals as, she was trying to escape. I don't think she even so much as harmed one in the movie. It's like, Arya is supposed to be tough. She is supposed to be able to look after herself. Is she perfect? Is she invulnerable? No. But she isn't supposed to be some damsel either. Moving on from Arya a bit. Eragon's whole reaction with the egg. He did not seem surprised at all. I would have expected a little more shock. He thought this thing was a rock. And then he finds out it's an egg. And also, how the heck did he not recognize a dragon? I mean, just looking at it and seeing that hatch, it's I feel thinking dragon is a pretty realistic, jump instead of being like, what are you? Also, not a fan how everyone seemed to have sensed this damn egg hatching. Yeah, I know for plots to kind of speed things along a bit, but how is everyone so in tune with this damn egg? And okay, sensing the dragon egg hatching, I can kind of suspend my disbelief a bit. Magic, could have been a burst of magic, I don't know. But the fact that they knew, some farm boy caused it to hatch, it's just how the hell did you figure that out? And also the fact that Galbatorix wants to kill Eragon pretty much from the get-go. I understand being angry that you didn't get to control who the egg hatched for, but the big thing of finding Eragon was to try and lure him over to your side via promises, bribes, or threats. What's the point of keeping any of the eggs if you don't want a dragon rider? A big reason that Galbatorix would want Saphira is because she is the only female dragon. The other two eggs that he has are male. His dragon is a male. He wants to rebuild the dragon riders and have control over them. You can't do that with no female dragon. So, you kind of shouldn't want Saphira to die. It's just, the motivation for going after Eragon makes no sense. Also, not a fan of the look of the Razak. Random, but yeah. No, they were supposed to blend in a little bit more. They were supposed to follow the king and not Durza. The Razak were killed way too easily in this movie. I did not like the Razak at all. It felt like almost a waste to have them in. You literally could have replaced them with any human guard. And also, I understand they can't have this whole time frame of Eragon raising Saphira, her growing. I understand that, but the way they handled it still felt really stupid and forced. And also just downright unrealistic to me. Honestly, even just having a little subtitle being X amount of months later would have worked better, in my opinion. Also, Braum did not come off as anywhere near as clever as he is supposed to. He's supposed to be more crafty about the Varden I wrote. I can't remember the context for that, but I feel he was very blunt about things with Eragon, or much more forthcoming than he should have been. I understand. Time frame. You gotta speed things up to get the plot going at some point, but it's just this is too much. Also, Eragon managing to put together that Braum was a writer felt off to me, and him finding out when he did was kind of random. I feel it was a much bigger emotional punch to find out Braum was a writer on his deathbed. And also, I know when Braum is dying, the whole like Shafira giving him like one last ride is supposed to be like meaningful and impactful. I felt nothing. That could just be the saltiness talking, but I feel like him dying like with Eragon right there is a little more of a punch to the guts than like him dying while riding. I don't know. So while rewatching this, I remembered I had a crush on the actor who played Murtagh. Rewatching it, I still think he's attractive. One thing that made like 15-year-old Megan so salty is, I believe in the book, Murtagh's scar is described as like diagonal from like, you know, shoulder to hip. But in the movie, it's just like straight across his back. It's such a tiny thing, but because it's such a tiny thing, it annoys me all the more. And also, one thing that I noticed, Arya's ears aren't even pointed. That is a defining feature of an elf. She is supposed to be an elf, and her ears are rounded. What the hell? This movie can't even do elves right. Another thing is, Murtagh seemed very willing to want to go to the Varden, when in the book, he's supposed to not want to go to the Varden because he's obviously Morzan's son. The Varden will know. He doesn't want to deal with that. So he doesn't want to go to the Varden. But he seems all happy and willy-nilly to go to the Varden in the movie. And then just the damn army of Urgles that just kind of appeared out of nowhere. The Battle of the Varden I wasn't overly impressed with. Just, I don't even have a comment on that other than that. The very dramatic revealing of Shuriken, I think it was named, whatever Galbatorix's dragon was called at the end, that was nowhere near as dramatic as they were trying to make it seem. Like, guys, we know he has a dragon. You knew he was a dragon rider. Why are you trying to make this seem like this big, shocking revelation that he has a dragon? Overall, in my opinion, this movie is with the unholy trinities of poor movie adaptions. Right up there with the Percy Jackson movies for me. Like I said at the beginning, I understand changes need to be made for book-to-movie adaptations. I totally understand. But just the stupid changes that were made, and just the stupid little errors like Arya's hair and Murtagh's scar and Arya's ears not being pointed. It's like, are you even trying? And also, like, some changes that I understand were made to make it more dramatic. Because let's be honest, the book for Eragon, there was a lot of nothing going on. A lot of traveling from place to place, a lot of info dumping, a lot of training, a lot of like setting things up, a lot of not very action-y things that would be boring as hell to watch in a movie. But some of the changes, like the king just wanted to kill Eragon, I get, you know, it adds an urgency to things, but it makes no sense! And just overall, this movie to me felt so rushed. They were trying to speed things along so much to get everything from the first book into a single movie. And it's like, it just felt so rushed. It's like, okay, we gotta go to point A. Okay, we do this quick thing here, quick to point B. C, just like, it just felt so rushed. Anyone who knows me knows that I hate the Percy Jackson movies. I don't hate them as much as I did when they first came out, because like I said, 27-year-old Megan understands that they gotta make changes to make things work in adaptions. I understand that much more than high school Megan. So yeah, I still have a very strong dislike for the Percy Jackson movies. But, you know, I understand, like, the changes made in those movies a lot more. I can't say I feel too much the same for Eragon. I don't know. I can at least say I don't despise the Percy Jackson movies anymore. I feel I can't say the same for Eragon. At least the Percy Jackson movies I can put on and laugh at how silly it is by taking itself so seriously. Eragon, I just get mad watching. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this, so I'm just gonna stop myself here. maybe if I didn't have the background on the books, I would have enjoyed this movie a lot more. But I sadly cannot say for sure. So yeah, this video is getting far too long. As the little timer says on my viewfinder, I'm already at like close to 40 minutes. That's gonna be fun to edit, so I'm gonna stop myself here. For anyone who is still watching, what do you think of this movie? Did you enjoy it as a movie adaptation? Did you despise it? Have you rewatched it lately? Have your thoughts changed from your first viewing? Are you any better at describing your dislike for this movie than I am? Let me know, let's get a discussion going. So yeah, that is it for this video, and I hope to see you guys next time.